Battle of Kadesh was a conflict between the Egyptians and Hittites over the vassal community of Kadesh in Syria-Palestine. The Battle of Kadesh, sometimes called the First World War, featured one of the largest ever chariot battles. Pharaoh Ramses II and the Hittites under King Muwatalli II, who were supported by 18 of their allied and vassal states. The invasion by Ramses II sought to wrest Syria from the Hittites and recapture the Hittite-held city of Kadesh. Ramses II led his forces into an ambush by 2,500 Hittite chariots, lured by Hittite spies who gave false information to their Egyptian captors. The battle may be the earliest military action recorded in detail, mostly from Egyptian sources, which proclaimed the siege a great victory for Ramses II. Some historians disagree and proclaim the encounter a Hittite victory because Ramses failed to achieve his military objective. Was it a draw then? The inscriptions are preserved on the walls of ancient Egyptian monuments depicting details of the conflict between Egypt and the Hittites, culminating in the Battle of Kadesh, a walled city that was located near the modern Lebanon-Syria border. Egyptian forces were commanded by Ramses II, and the Hittite army was commanded by King Muwatalli II. Though less well known, he was just as skillful a commander as Ramses II. Muwatalli faced numerous political, social, and military challenges during his reign. He was a skilled diplomat who successfully negotiated treaties with his neighbors, including one with Wilusa, Troy. The Battle of Kadesh was the result of competing Hittite and Egyptian interests in the region of Canaan. For the Egyptians, Canaan was crucial to the overall security and well-being of ancient Egypt. After a native Egyptian dynasty had expelled the Hyksos in 1550 BCE, the pharaohs of the new kingdom campaigned in Canaan more aggressively. They sought to reclaim their lost spheres of influence and create a buffer zone that would prevent invaders from reaching Egypt itself. By pushing their borders further out, Egypt came into conflict with other powerful kingdoms like the Mitanni and Old Assyrians. In response, the Egyptians sought to further expand their buffer zone until they came into direct contact with the Hittites. Both the Hittites and Egyptians gathered large armies in preparation of the coming battle. Each army numbered around 20,000 to 50,000 soldiers. The most important contingents of the Egyptian and Hittite armies were of course the chariot corps. Bronze Age chariots were primarily mobile firing platforms for archers and javelin men. They did not go crashing through infantry formations like tanks. There were also some distinctions between Hittite and Egyptian chariots. Hittite chariots had their wheels placed in the middle of the chariot carriage. The Battle of Kadesh can perhaps best be described as a draw. Although Ramses and the Egyptians were able to drive Muwatalli's Hittites from the battlefield, they were not able to capture Kadesh. Additionally, the Egyptian army had suffered such heavy casualties that it was forced to return to Egypt. Muwatalli was able to drive the Egyptians out of Syria and induce their vassals in Canaan to revolt. The conflict would rage for another 15 years, with the advantage seesawing back and forth between the Hittites and Egyptians, with neither side able to decisively defeat the other. Eventually, in 1258 BCE, the Egyptians and Hittites decided to settle their border conflict through a treaty which established their separate spheres of influence. Ultimately, the Battle of Kadesh led to a peace treaty between the Hittites and Egyptians, which resolved their border conflict. A clay copy was recovered from the Hittite capital of Hattusa and now resides in the Istanbul Archaeology Museum and at the Berlin States Museum in Germany. The Egyptian version was inscribed on the walls of two temples in Thebes, the Ramesseum, and the precinct of Amun-Re at the Temple of Karnak. If you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.